Hello, hello, hello. Happy Thursday night. Hope everyone is doing well tonight. So, today is Thursday night, and today we're going to be getting into Lesson 1, Dialogue 3, where we're talking about our Zen character, right? And so, this time we're going to get into a few different things. But to start off, let's talk a little bit about America and the way people speak in America. So I figure change it up today and start with a little talk about a different topic. And then later on, after a few minutes of talking about a little topic, then we can get into our questions from our lesson and discussing what's going on in our lesson and what's new. So hi, everybody, all the people who are joining. We have about 12 people so far, so we can sort of get started. And hello and welcome. Thanks for joining. So I mentioned in my post today that America has dialects. Now, a lot of people know that, well, I've learned about a British English dialect and an American dialect, but in America, there are many different dialects. What are you talking about? So a lot of people know what an accent is. An accent is the way you pronounce sounds, right? The accent, like a British accent, they C-A-N apostrophe T, they would say can't, while an American accent would say can't. That's an accent. It's a difference in sound, right? And then in America, there are accents too. Every region of the country has a different accent. America is huge. It's as big as or bigger than Europe. So imagine Europe has all those languages. America has many different accents of English, right? And so I have a general American accent, and I might say, I'm going to the store. But someone from the South might say, I'm going to the store. So their accent is a little bit different, right? It's the sound of the letters. But also, a dialect includes more than just an accent. So a dialect means the different words that people use. I don't know if you had a chance to take a look at that little video I posted, but it's pretty interesting. They light up the map based on where people will say these different words. So the first big one is soda. Everyone has learned the word soda, meaning a fizzy drink like Coca-Cola or Pepsi or Sprite. Some places they call it pop, or in their accent they'd say pap. And then a few places in the South say Coke. And they don't mean Coca-Cola, they mean any soda is called Coke, which is kind of crazy. So if you go to a restaurant in places like Texas, they'll say, what would you like to drink? And you could say, can I have a Coke? And then they say, what kind of Coke? Like, Coca-Cola? Oh, okay. But Sprite is also a Coke down there. It's kind of strange, right? It's kind of funny. But every area of the country speaks in different ways. So I just wanted to pull out a few interesting ones before we go on. Now, one that comes up later is sneakers. Sneakers are shoes that you wear when you're exercising. Where I come from, we say sneakers. But you could also say tennis shoes or gym shoes, right? And then everyone knows the word the subway. You take the train underground. In England, they call it the underground. In America, most of the people will say subway. But where you live will change the word you use. People in Chicago will say the L. People in San Francisco will say the BART. People from Boston will say the T, okay? And then there are a few other interesting ones, like if I'm talking to all of you, you've learned that you can be singular and you can be plural, right? But a lot of the times that's not clear enough, so people will add stuff to it. Instead of just saying you, meaning a group, most people in America will say you guys. But in different places, there are different words. So a lot of people say, hey, where are you guys going? meaning this group of people. Other people will say you all or y'all. Hey, where y'all going? And then in a couple places, they say yous. Where yous going? That sounds weird to me because it's only from a few small places. But it's kind of cool that even in one country, the same language, people will use different words. It's kind of interesting. So I learned a lot of different stuff from my sister when she lived in the South. My brother lived in California. So you can learn all these different dialects, and it's kind of fun, I think. So if you want, I could try to send you guys some more information about accents and dialects. It's pretty cool stuff. I think it's fun to learn. Here's one more example of in where I come from in Massachusetts. Let's say you're really thirsty and you want to drink some water, but you don't have any money. Maybe you go to this thing that you push a button, water comes out. What do you call that? In most places, it's called a water fountain, right? A water fountain. I'm drinking water from the water fountain. But in some places in Massachusetts, people will call it a bubbler because the water bubbles out of the fountain. So it's a bubbler. And then add a Boston accent to that. The R goes away. So bubbler becomes bubbla. So people in Boston might say, I'm drinking water from the bubbler. I'm drinking water from the bubbler. It's kind of fun to learn some of this, right? I think so. Okay. So if you guys have some questions about dialects and accents, feel free to ask me. I think it's pretty fun and interesting. We can explore some accents from different parts of America and maybe some different countries. Like there are many English-speaking countries around the world. They all speak English a little bit different. I think it's fun to learn. Hopefully you do too. Okay. Now, let's get into our lesson. We're learning Lesson 1, Dialogue 3. Our character who's too zen, too relaxed, okay? And we learned a few interesting phrases, right? So let's just get into it, and let's start with Dialogue 3, Part 2, okay? So we have our translation questions. You're translating from Chinese into English, okay? And there's a lot to talk about in these things, so we'll try to keep it shorter than last time. But I'm going to try my best to cover as much as I can from your answers, okay? I read everybody's answers. I took a lot of notes, and we'll try to get to most of it. And if you have more questions, of course, feel free to ask me. You can ask me here in this chat today, or if you are watching this at a later time, you can always send a message, and I'll try my best to get back to you, okay? So for Lesson 1, Conversation 3, Part 2, our first sentence is 这件事很严肃，你最好不要乱开玩笑. So maybe this might be at work and something's going bad or something's going wrong or there's a big situation, okay? So the way I would translate this is a serious situation. You'd better not joke around. Okay. So we're talking about a overall thing that's happening. So we use the phrase situation. We use the word situation to describe this thing that's happening. I'm not talking about one little thing. It's the overall situation. Maybe there are many different parts. Okay. So I said, this is a serious situation. Okay. We can start a sentence with this is, just meaning this thing we're talking about, or this situation, where we are in the world and in life. This is a serious situation. Maybe something's happening with a client or a customer and it's a problem. This is a serious situation, okay? You'd better not joke around. So we learned in this section of our course, you had better not blah, 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 right? This is something, it's a strong suggestion telling someone they should not do something. And if you do it, there will be some consequences, right? So you'd better not joke around. You had better not joke around. Meaning, if you do joke around, maybe something will go wrong, right? There's consequences if you joke around. Okay, now, this is a serious situation. I also saw people translate this as matter. This is a serious matter. That works too. Situation is a bigger meaning. It means a bigger idea, maybe like the whole situation. A matter sounds like one smaller part of a situation, okay? So depending on what you're really talking about, you could use both things. This is a serious situation, or this is a serious matter. The situation means overall, matter might be one part of the situation, okay? I also saw someone say this is a serious affair. Now, that's not wrong, but it sounds a little bit too formal. This is a serious affair. It sounds like something from maybe a police drama or something like that. To keep it simple, use situation. Matter is okay too, but a little bit less common than this is a serious situation. Serious situation, these two words often go together. Now, you could also say this situation is serious. That's okay too. Both of the sentences, the grammar is correct. It just changes it around. This is a serious situation. This situation is serious. Both are okay. Now we use the word serious to mean it's a time when, well, you shouldn't joke around, right? It's serious meaning maybe it's high pressure or something sad happened or something bad happened. It's serious, right? Some people use the word important. This is an important situation. Now, important could be used here, and you don't want to joke around when it's an important situation. But the meaning of important and serious are a little bit different. Important means it affects you a lot or affects many people in many ways, right? And then serious makes it sound like it's very important and it's not something you can have fun with. Maybe it's bad, maybe it's sad. It's a serious situation. Or we need to get down to business. We're not here to play. We're here to work, okay? Now, also, remember the word should be serious. Serious is an adjective. I saw a few people use seriously. This is a seriously situation. That doesn't work. If you have ly, that means it's an adverb. An adverb will describe an adjective or another verb. Like, you need to take this seriously. That would mean seriously is describing take, okay? Now, also, you'd better not joke around, is what I said. You could also say, you shouldn't joke around. Both of these are okay. It means it's a bad idea to joke around, right? You shouldn't joke around. You had better not joke around. But if you use had better, it's making it stronger. It's emphasizing that there are consequences if you do joke around, okay? So should is a suggestion. Had better makes it clear that there's a consequence, okay? Now, I said you had better not joke around. Now, there are many different ways to say joke around. You could also say mess around or kid around. So joke around, mess around, kid around. These are all words that mean you're being silly or you're not being serious. It's the opposite of serious, right? And then there were a few different ways that people translated this section of the sentence. Some people used ing. You'd better not be joking. Okay. Joking, and then I saw you'd better not be kidding. Okay. Now, joke around and kid around means in general you are making little funny jokes. You're saying a few funny things. But if you say you'd better not be kidding or you'd better not be joking, it sounds like you're focused on one thing that they said. I said, this is really not very expensive, ha ha ha. And you say, this is a serious situation. You'd better not be joking around. Or you'd better not joke around. By saying you shouldn't be joking, it's talking about that one sentence, okay? Or you think what he said is being silly, but we're talking about in general, maybe they're being too happy or being too fun. So joke around is better. Okay. I also saw a couple of people say trick on me or play a joke. Play a trick, play a joke, or mess with me. Now, the meaning of these are a little bit different. Play a trick on me, play a joke on me, or mess with me. These are all, the meaning is that you're doing something to affect me. Now, like maybe you put water on top of the door. I open the door and it splashes on me. This is messing with me. But here we're not talking about a focused joking around. You're not joking with me. It's about the situation, right? So joking around suggests that it's in general. You shouldn't be doing that, okay? I also saw the word facetious come up. Facetious is a little bit of a different meaning where like you're saying something and not taking it seriously. Maybe you're saying something and it doesn't really matter, but you're just saying it. So here, we don't want to use the word facetious. It's better to say joke around or mess around, okay? Yeah, and then similar to mess with me or play a joke on me, I also saw make fun. Don't make fun of me. Make fun means you're saying something and laughing at me, right? Okay. Also saw kidding and kidding around. So yeah, like I said, kidding is you're saying one thing. Are you kidding with that one thing? Kid around means in general being a little bit silly, maybe saying many different little silly things. So the focus is kidding would be one thing, kidding around meaning in general you are acting that way. Okay? Next up. The second one is 我应该向他表白吗? So maybe this is your friend talking to you, or maybe you have secret feelings for someone. You have a crush on someone. Now, there are many different ways to translate this. I translate it as, should I confess my feelings to him? So, your friend has secret feelings. So, should I confess my feelings to him? So here the word confess means you're telling a secret. And what are you confessing? What secret are you telling? My feelings. So confess my feelings. This is a set phrase that usually goes together. Should I confess my feelings to him? Okay. And then there are a few different ways to say this. I saw many different answers. So you could also say, confess my love. This is a lot stronger. Confess my feelings. Maybe you kind of like them, but confess my love means, oh, I really love him. Okay? And then tell him my feelings. This is okay too. Tell him I like him. That's okay too. Let him know I have a crush on him. Okay too. And express my feelings. So, many different ways to say the same things. But if it's a secret, you can use the word confess. I want to confess my feelings. If we're talking about love and it's a crush, we want to use confess my feelings. That's the most clear that it was a secret and you're telling them the first time. If you tell someone your feelings, that works in this situation, but it could mean other things. It doesn't necessarily mean there's a secret there, okay? Tell him I like him. That's okay too. Let him know I have a crush on him. That's just like tell him I have a crush on him. Now, be careful with the word crush. This is a great word to know, a great word to use. If you have a crush on someone, that means you really like them and it's a secret. Crush is a noun. You have a crush. Usually we don't use crush as a verb. I'm crushing on him. Some people might say that, but usually crush is a noun. Have a crush. I have a crush on that person, okay? And I said that we should say confess my feelings. Like, should I confess my feelings to him? We don't want to just say confess. Should I confess to him? If you just say confess by itself, that means you're telling him a secret. Should I confess to him? And we don't know what the secret is. Maybe it's something bad. Oh, should I confess to him? I ate the last cookie. Oh. So, if you really want to be clear that it's love, you want to say, confess my feelings, confess my loves. Okay? And you could also use show my love or express my love. Okay? One other idiom we can say is to put your feelings out in the open. So your feelings are hidden away. We want to put them out in the open. Okay? That's a good phrase to use here. And a few other phrases I saw from students were, should I show my love? Show my love sounds like you are doing something to show your love. You already told that person. It's not a secret. You just want to show them how much you love them. So maybe you have a boyfriend and you want to show your boyfriend your love. So maybe you buy him some chocolates or buy him some roses, something like that. I also saw, should I declare to him? This is not clear enough. You need to say declare what? You could say declare my feelings, declare my love. Declare means you announce it. It sounds a little bit formal, but it's okay if you say declare my love. But as I said before, tell him my feelings, confess my feelings would be a little bit better. Okay? Also, I saw, should I say my love? Say my love sounds too simple. You have to remember this is a secret and you're telling them for the first time. So you could say, should I say I love him? And that would be, you're saying the sentence, I love you. And so that's a little bit more clear that it's like a first time thing. Okay? Now let's move on. Our third sentence of this part was,你不应该用这种语气说话. So, this is something that parents will probably say to their kids. Oh, don't do that. So, when you're trying to talk to somebody who's speaking to you in a not nice way, maybe they're, oh, blah, blah, blah. They're speaking with a bad tone of voice. So, a common phrase is tone of voice. That's the key phrase, tone of voice. So the way I would say the sentence is, you shouldn't speak with that tone of voice. Because we're saying you shouldn't speak with that tone of voice, the person knows tone of voice is talking about the bad tone of voice, right? Okay, so you shouldn't speak with that tone of voice. Okay, in Chinese, the sentence is 这种语气. This, right? So we use the word this in Chinese, but in English, I think it's better if you use the word that, because remember, this means it's close to me, that means it's over there. And I would use that because it's coming from you, okay? You shouldn't speak with that tone of voice, that one that you're using. This tone of voice is better. This is the tone of voice I'm using. That tone of voice is not okay. So in English, we would probably use that in this situation. So if someone is talking to you in a bad way, you could talk about, oh, it's that tone of voice again, okay? So you shouldn't speak with that tone of voice. Now, there are many different ways to translate this sentence again. You shouldn't speak with that tone of voice. You ought not speak with that tone of voice. You had better not speak with that tone of voice. All three of these are almost the same meaning. Now, shouldn't and ought not are the same meaning, but a lot of people don't use ought very often. Ought is a little bit harder to say than should, right? Should, ought. Ought is a little bit harder to say. It's correct, but just because it's harder to say, people will say it less. People generally will say the easier thing to say. So should. Now, had better is a little bit different. Maybe you're talking to your child and your child is rude, so you had better not speak with that tone of voice. This is okay too, because it's suggesting if they do, there's a consequence. Maybe if your son or daughter is rude to you, they'll get in trouble, okay? I have a couple questions. So let's go back to the last question, which was, should I confess my feelings to him? We'll get back to tone of voice in a minute. And the question is, can I translate to, should I see him? See him is kind of a different meaning here. So if we say see someone, see, the basic meaning of this is see, look with your eyes. Should I go see him? That would mean go visit someone. So I go and see him. Should I go see him? He's over there, or he's at his house. Should I go see him and say hello? Another meaning for see means to date someone. I think this is what you were thinking. Should I see him? But that would mean, should I start dating him? That would mean the two of the people, they already know they like each other, and the person is, this person keeps asking me out on a date again and again. Should I see him? Should I start seeing him? Like, should I start dating him? So the meaning is a little bit different if you use see. So for this sentence with 表白, you should use confess my feelings, because there's a secret love, right? And so you're telling someone for the first time. It's all about the speaking part. See is about using your eyes to visit someone. But with 表白, we're trying to tell someone something or confess something, okay? Hopefully that helps. Now, back to tone of voice. You shouldn't speak with that tone of voice. Okay, one question is, you shouldn't talk in that attitude. Okay, close. So I was just about to mention that using the word speak is a little bit different, is a little bit better than talk here. So if you use the word speak instead of talk, speak is talking about the way the words come out of your mouth. So the way you speak. Talk is focusing on the conversation, okay? So I talk to my mother, or I speak about something. So talk is focusing on the conversation. Speak is focusing on the words coming out of your mouth. So in this, we should say, you should not speak with that attitude. So you said in that attitude. I think you should say with that attitude, because you speak with an attitude. We want to use the word speak with and then whatever. So speak with that tone of voice, speak with that attitude. Tone of voice is focusing on the way they speak, the sound. With that attitude is the way they sound, but also maybe their body language. Okay? So that works too. You shouldn't talk with that attitude, or you shouldn't speak with that attitude. Okay? Now there are other ways to say this too. You shouldn't talk to me like that. You shouldn't speak to me like that. You shouldn't speak this way. You shouldn't speak like that. You shouldn't speak in that way. Okay? There are many different ways to say it. There are a couple that were a little bit off though. You shouldn't speak like this way. This way, this does not work. You can't say like this way. Either choose like this or this way, but not like this way. And then I also saw the way like this. So again, we don't want to mix like and this way. So keep it separate, either like this or this way, but not both together. Okay? I also saw someone say, without an attitude. Now, this is kind of the opposite. So we don't want to say without an attitude. Without an attitude means you're like a robot. You have no attitude. Hello, mother. Welcome home. And so that's without an attitude. Everyone has an attitude. Maybe you have a good attitude. Maybe you have a bad attitude. Okay? So if you say with an attitude, that would usually mean it's a bad attitude. But we don't say without an attitude. That would be a robot. Okay? Next, part 3. Okay? So this one, again, many different ways to translate it. No one got it exactly the same way as I did, but that's okay, right? And I also used a phrase that maybe you're not familiar with, but you can learn it here today. So the first sentence is 接下来天气应该会越来越暖. Okay? So the 接下来, how would we translate that? A lot of people just ignored it, right? And that's okay. Maybe you don't need every single word if you're just trying to get the meaning across. So the whole sentence, 接下来天气应该会越来越暖. I say, going forward, the weather should get warmer and warmer. Okay? So a lot of people got very close to this, but didn't have the going forward part. If you didn't have that, don't worry. That's okay. This is a tricky phrase that I put in because it's a good one to know. So going forward, the weather should get warmer and warmer. Now, going forward means from today, going forward. Okay? I don't know if you've ever learned this, but if you're talking about from now into the future, you could say going forward. Maybe something will be new and stay the same for a while. Like if you're talking about work, going forward, our meetings will be at 2 o'clock on Monday. So they're changing the schedule, starting this time and going into the future. So going forward. So going forward, the weather should get warmer and warmer. Okay. Now, I use going forward. There are a few different ways you could say the same thing. So going forward, in the next few days, in the near future, or from here on. That's another good phrase to know. From here on. So here meaning now, and then on means going forward. So from here, now, on, after. So from here on. Okay? Now, I said the weather should get warmer and warmer. Should is an expectation. We are expecting what will happen, right? And so the weather should get warmer and warmer. This is if we're being specific and we want to say the weather. A lot of people said it should get warmer and warmer. And that's okay too. If we're talking about the weather, sometimes we don't need the words the weather. We can just say it. It should get warmer and warmer. And everyone knows you're talking about the weather. We're not talking about my tea will get warmer and warmer. No. If you just use it and then a temperature word or like a weather word, people know you're talking about the weather. It will be rainy. Of course, it is the weather, right? So you could say, from here on, it should get warmer and warmer. That's okay too, okay? Now, I saw a few people say the next days. But just saying the next days doesn't work quite right. You should say maybe in the next few days. So in the next few days, that would mean in this time, it will get warmer and warmer. Or you could say over the next few days. So over that time, from the start to the finish, okay? But the next days by itself, we need a word like a preposition like in or over, something like that to indicate when it's going to happen. Maybe after the next few days, it will get warmer and warmer, okay? So you can't just say the next days, okay? I also saw a bunch of people say in the following days. In the following days, the weather should get warmer and warmer. Now, this actually, it sounds like it should be right? But by saying in the following days, we're not being clear enough. In the following days is a phrase that is used to indicate after something. So we have an event, and then in the following days, what happened? So maybe there was a big battle. In the following days, many soldiers flew home, okay? So there's an event, and then in the following days, what happened? Like there was a big sale at the store, and in the following days, many people bought the new toy or something like that, okay? So an event and then in those days that followed after, okay? But in this situation, we don't use in the following days talking about now, okay? You need an event if you want to use the following days, okay? And then the weather should get warmer and warmer, okay? That's an expectation. You could also say the weather is supposed to get warmer and warmer. That's okay too. Using the word supposed to means that there are certain people that say it's supposed to. Maybe the weatherman told you. The guy on the news says, oh, it's getting warmer. So he said it. So, oh, it's supposed to get warmer. So should and supposed to are almost the same meaning, but supposed to is suggesting that other people said this kind of thing, okay? You should use should get or should become, right? You could also say supposed to become warmer. The weather is supposed to become warmer and warmer. That's okay too. I also saw supposed to be warmer and warmer. That doesn't exactly work because be is one state. If we're talking about warmer and warmer, then we're talking about a change, okay? So the weather is supposed to be warmer. That would be okay if it's just warmer. But if you're saying warmer and warmer, we're talking about the change and slowly happening. So supposed to be isn't quite great. Okay? Now I said warmer and warmer. Of course, there are many different ways to say this too. You could say the weather is going to warm up, right? Warm up from it's going to slowly go up in temperature. And you could say the weather should get gradually warmer. So gradually means it slowly changes, it slowly increases, it gets gradually warmer. Still, we're talking about the change, right? A few people said it should become warm. Now, we don't want to just say warm because that is, it's moving from here to here and stopping. It should become warm. But we want to focus on the change. It's becoming warmer and warmer, okay? Become warm just means go from cold to warm. But warmer and warmer is focused on the change. And then I also saw it should be getting a little bit warmer. So that's focused on a small change, right? But we want to focus on that it's changing over time, right? So we want warmer and warmer or gradually warmer. I also saw some people use the word hotter. Now, hotter is similar to warm, but we don't want to use it here because it's too strong. The weather is getting warmer is what's happening in Taipei right now. It's getting warmer, starting to feel a little bit sweaty, a little bit. It's getting warmer. It's slowly going up. But if you say the weather's getting hotter, maybe it's time to wear t-shirts and shorts all the time. So warmer is a little bit, and then hotter means a lot, okay? Next up is 约完会后我应该要送女生回家吗? Now, this one is very tricky for English because there are a lot of similar phrases and the meaning is quite different. And some of it ends up being a little bit funny. So I hope you're not embarrassed, but some of your answers are a little bit funny and you'll understand why. So I would say, after a date, am I supposed to walk the girl home? So, after a date, am I supposed to walk the girl home? Now, 送回家 is very difficult to change into English because we don't know the exact situation. Now, imagine the two people are on a date and they're in a city and they don't live very far away. If they don't live far away, you could say, am I supposed to walk the girl home? And that's okay. You walk together and bring the girl to her front door and you say goodbye. Now, if you live in a bigger place where you have to drive, you could say, am I supposed to drive the girl home? That works too. Maybe you drive her in your car and you bring her to her house, okay? Now, let's go piece by piece. So I said, am I supposed to? You could also say, should I? Should I walk the girl home? That's okay too. Am I supposed to or should I? Remember, supposed to is focused on do other people expect me to do this, right? Should I is in general. Supposed to sounds like maybe people think I should do it, right? Okay. And so I said after a date. So we're talking in general. Maybe any date. So after any date. After a date. Am I supposed to walk the girl home? So the girl on the date. So a date meaning any date. The girl meaning the girl in that one date. Okay? And I also saw some people say after dating. Now, a date and dating are different meanings. A date means one time when you go to a restaurant or go to a movie, one time when you go out with someone. Dating means again and again. We are dating. That means you and that person are going on many different dates. Okay, so be careful. A date is one time. Dating means many times, maybe 5, 10 dates. Okay, and then, like I said before, a date meaning in general a date. Not the date, because the date means you know what you're talking about already, right? After the date, should I, blah, blah, blah. But we don't know which date yet, so we'd say a date. Okay, now, get into the hard part. I said it's okay to say, should I walk the girl home? Should I drive the girl home? Okay? Now, there are a few different phrases here that could be a little bit funny if you say the wrong thing, so be very careful. So you want to walk the girl home or drive her home. That means you go with her to her front door and then say goodbye. You could also say, if you want to be formal, you could say escort the girl home. Should I escort the girl home? E-S-C-O-R-T. But that's very formal. So people don't say that very much. Now, I saw a lot of people use the word send her home or take her home. Now, be careful. If you say send her home, should I send the girl home? That means you say, okay, you go that way. Bye-bye. Maybe you're on the date and then you just say, oh, go away, go home. Send her home means tell her to go away. So maybe you say, here's $20, go take a taxi, get out of here. So to send someone home means to tell them to go away. So you don't want to send the girl home. That would mean it was a very bad date. Okay? So maybe that's what you mean. Should I send her home if it's a bad date, or should I still walk her home? Right? So be careful. Send her home and say, you can just go. So you don't want to send her home if you like the girl. Okay? Now, I also saw people say, should I take the girl home? Or am I supposed to take her home? Be careful. This is only if the date goes really, really well. If you say take her home, that means take her to your house. So, should I take her home? So you go on a date and then you take the girl to your house. And then some things might happen. Maybe some romance. So if you say, should I take her home? Maybe that's what you want to know, but that question means, should I take her to my house? Don't say, should I take her home? It sounds like take her to my home, not take her to her home. Okay? Be careful. So you should say something like, should I walk her home? Should I drive her home? If you say, should I send her home? You say, bye-bye. Or if you say, should I take her home? You go, hey, 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 hey. So be careful, okay? But like I said before, you could say, should I take her to her home? but it sounds like a little bit too much. It's better to just say, should I walk her home or should I drive her home? Okay? You could say, should I walk the girl to her door? That's a nice way to say it. Yeah. You could say walk her home or walk her to her door. That's okay. I also saw someone say, pick the girl up. Now, this is the opposite. We're talking about the end of a date. Should I walk her home? Like to go to her home. If you say pick her up, that means go somewhere and get the girl. Maybe you meet her and then take her to a different place. Now, that could be in your car. You drive to her house, you pick her up, and then you go on a date. So pick her up would be at the beginning of the date. At the end of the date, you want to walk her home or drive her home. Okay? Now, I keep saying girl. If you're talking about someone your age, women will often say a boy about someone their own age. Men will often say a girl about someone their own age. You also said lady and woman. If you say lady or woman, it often suggests that the person is older than you. It's respectful to call someone a lady or a woman, but it sounds like they're maybe a little bit older than you, and that's why you need to show respect. But if you're going on a date, usually you're similar age, so you will probably call the person a girl. Or women might say, oh, I met a nice boy at a restaurant, or I met a nice boy at a grocery store. You're the same age. So that's the most common way to say it. Okay? Now, next up is 我失恋了，但我会好起来的。So hopefully this didn't happen to you, but I know everything will be okay, right? Okay. So I translate this as, my heart is broken, but I should be okay. Okay? My heart is broken, but I should be okay. Now, like I've said before, keep it simple. There are many different ways to say it. This is a simple way to say it that I think is straight to the point. My heart is broken, but I should be okay. Okay? And you expect to be okay. Okay. Now, I said I should be okay. Can we say I'm supposed to be okay? Not really. Should be okay is in general. Like I said before, supposed to means other people expect it. I should be okay means I think so, right? So I said be okay. You could also say I should be all right. I should survive, meaning I'll live through it. I should recover. I should get better. I should get through it, okay? So there are many different ways to say it. Now, for the first part, I said my heart was broken. It's a very general way to say it. We don't know the details. A lot of you use many different ways to say my heart is broken, but it's being more specific than we were, right? So someone said, I was dumped. That means the girl, well, let's not say girl, the other person broke up with you. They said it. It was their idea. They dumped you. So I was dumped. This person said, it's over. So I was dumped. Okay? That's the meaning of that. That's how that's different. My heart is broken is general. I was dumped means they said it to me. It's over. Woo! Okay? So that works, but the meaning is a little bit different. I also saw I fell out of love. This is the opposite of I was dumped. There's the other person. I stopped loving this person. I fell out of love. It also sounds a little bit poetic, like from a song. There's a song called I Fall Out of Love. So it's a good song, but it's very poetic. I fell out of love, meaning I stopped loving that person. Okay? Also, I saw I lost my lover. This sounds a little bit too poetic, right? It sounds like it's from a book or from a poem or a song. But in regular speaking, people probably would not say, I lost my lover, okay? And then I saw some people say, I broke up. You can't say, I broke up. You would say, we broke up. Me and my match. We broke up. Oh, too bad. So don't say, I broke up. Okay? And I also saw, I broke my heart. You can't break your own heart. I broke my heart. No, she broke my heart, or he broke my heart, okay? So someone broke someone else's heart, okay? Or maybe I broke her heart. Oh no. So you could say, I broke up with her, meaning you said it. You could say, I dumped her or dumped him, but that sounds worse, okay? Or you could say, my boyfriend broke up with me. Or you could say, we broke up, okay? And then I said, I should be okay. So you could also say, I ought to be okay. But like I said before, ought to is less common. And then I saw, I should be get better. Now you don't need the word be here. So should and then the verb. Should be is followed by an adjective. I should be okay. But you don't put a verb after be. I should be get better. You'd say, I should get better. Or I should be okay. Okay? And then, I should be getting better. This is a little bit, the grammar makes sense, but it's a little bit too much. I should be getting better would suggest that you will continue to be getting better. It makes it too complicated. Keep it simple. Instead of saying should be getting better, just say should get better. Keep it simple, okay? Now, next up is 我的朋友要搬回来台湾，他应该6月回来。So, your friend maybe lives abroad, lives in America, or lives in Canada, and they're moving back, right? So, I would say, my friend is moving back to Taiwan. He should get back in June. So, my friend is moving back to Taiwan. He should get back in June. I said, my friend is moving back. Now, I used the present progressive tense, the present continuous tense, is moving back. Now, we're talking about the future, but you can also use the present continuous. I use the present continuous here because it's in the near future, okay? It's not very far away. So if it's something that is definitely going to happen and it's in the near future, we can use present continuous. My friend is moving back to Taiwan. I'm sure of it, and it's going to happen pretty soon. You could also say this with the future tense, right? And a lot of you did, and it's perfectly fine. It works. My friend will move back to Taiwan. My friend will be moving back to Taiwan. My friend is coming back to Taiwan. That's also present continuous, just using coming back instead of moving back. So my friend is coming back. My friend will come back. My friend is going to move back. My friend is going to come back. Okay? All of these are okay. They're in the future and they're coming back to Taiwan. Okay? But be careful. You don't want to say move to. My friend will move to Taiwan. If you say move to, that sounds like they're moving away from here. If you live in America, you could say, oh, my friend is moving to Taiwan. But we're talking about we live in Taiwan. They're moving back to Taiwan. Maybe they are a Taiwanese person that moved to America and they moved back to Taiwan. Okay? If it's someone that was born in America, you wouldn't say moving back, right? You could say moving to Taiwan. But we're focused on moving back, right? They are a Taiwanese person who went abroad and now they're coming back. Okay? I also saw some people say, my friend is supposed to move back to Taiwan. Now this is okay. but the meaning is slightly different. That suggests that you're not sure about it. Your friend is expected to move back, but you're not sure yet, okay? My friend is supposed to move back to Taiwan, meaning that I heard that he will, but I'm not sure yet, okay? And then he should get back in June. We could say he is supposed to get back in June, okay? He ought to get back in June. All three of these are fine, right? And then he should be back in June. He should come back in June. He should arrive in June. He should return in June. He should get back in June. All of these are fine. All of these work. They're all meaning the same thing. 回来, right? Be back, come back, arrive, return, get back. Arrive is a little bit different. That's focusing on when they land in Taiwan, right? Now, one big thing, a lot of you put these two sentences together into one. You said, my friend is moving back to Taiwan, comma, he should get back in June. Now, in Chinese, there's a comma, right? But in English, these are two different ideas, so we use a period. My friend is moving back to Taiwan, period. He should get back in June, period. Two separate ideas. If you want to use a comma and put them together into one sentence, you need to use a conjunction, meaning the word and, okay? Or another conjunction like he's coming back to Taiwan, so I think he's coming in June, something like that. But and would be the word to connect this the best, okay? I also saw someone say, my friend is moving back from abroad. That's okay too. Abroad means outside of the country. And you're saying they're coming back from abroad. But it doesn't have the focus of Taiwan. But it's more general. Moving back from abroad. That's focusing on that they were away from Taiwan. Okay? I also saw someone say, he should go back in June. Now, we don't want to say go back. Go suggests they're going away. You want them to come back or move back, okay? Go back means they were away, they visited me, and now they're going back to where they were before, far away. So go away, okay? And I also saw some people, instead of saying come back, they just said, he should back to Taiwan in June. Now, back is not a verb. Remember that. So if you use the word 回来, you cannot say he should back in June. No, you need the word come or move in this sentence. We need an action. Back is where he's going. He's moving back to Taiwan. Back by itself is not an action, okay? Last but not least, I saw he is planning for moving to Taiwan. Now, this is close, but you could also use planning to. You should say, he is planning to move back to Taiwan. That would be okay. That means he's making plans of when to do it, okay? So he is planning to move back in June. That would be okay. But it sounds like it's less sure, okay? Next up is 你不应该说出这么伤人的话. So I translate this to, you shouldn't say such hurtful things. So we had a similar sentence last week, I think. But I translated that as mean things. But here we have 伤人的话. I would say, you shouldn't say such hurtful things. In Chinese, you use the word 话. But in English, when we're talking about what someone says, you wouldn't say words, you would say things. So you say things rather than say words. A lot of the times, if we're talking about negative, we'd say, you shouldn't say such hurtful things. Okay? So this is the right thing to do, right? Should not, it's the wrong thing to do. So you shouldn't say such hurtful things. Now, I use shouldn't, and that's very general. Like everyone knows, and you know that you shouldn't say these things, right? You could also say you aren't supposed to say such hurtful things. Again, it means everybody, other people will say, hey, don't say that, okay? I also saw someone say, you should never say such hurtful things, using should never. This is okay too, but it's a little bit different. If we say you shouldn't say such hurtful things, it's talking about right now. Maybe the person just said something that's not nice. But if we're talking in general, then you could say you should never, okay? I said hurtful things. You could also say you shouldn't say such mean things, okay? Mean means not nice. So hurtful and mean are similar. Hurtful means it hurts someone. Mean just means it's not nice in general. Now, hurtful and mean are the best. Some people use rude. Rude just means maybe they're saying something that's kind of gross or inappropriate. The sentence works, you shouldn't say such rude things, but hurtful and rude are different. Hurtful means it's actually hurting someone's feelings. Rude could be, in general, not polite, okay? I also saw offensive words. Offensive means it's not hurting someone's feelings. It makes someone think you're terrible. Like if you say something offensive, it's a bad thing that everyone will think you're a bad guy. But it doesn't necessarily hurt their feelings, okay? And I use the word such, meaning the word 这么伤人的话, I would say such hurtful things. Such meaning it's very hurtful, or it's surprisingly hurtful. Some people said these hurtful things, these would be okay. You shouldn't say these hurtful things, but we're focusing on how much of hurtful it is. So such hurtful, okay? And because they're saying more than one thing, we would say these or those, okay? But you don't want to say this or that unless they only said one word or one thing, okay? Now, next up is 人和人之间应该互相尊重. Now, this is a tricky one, but I would say people are supposed to respect each other. So we can boil this down, keep it simple, and say just people. People are supposed to respect each other, meaning that everyone knows it, and if all the people around you will say respect one another. So you are supposed to. It's the right thing to do, and everyone says it. So that's why we use supposed to. You could also use people should respect each other. This is more general, okay? I said people should, or people are supposed to. You could also say everyone. Everyone is supposed to respect each other. Or everybody is supposed to respect each other. That's okay. You could also say people should respect one another, okay? Respect one another. You're looking one by one. One another. One another. So respect one another, okay? One response that was close but a little bit off was someone said, we should respect others mutually. Now, this is really good. The word mutual or mutually means that's talking about the 人和人之间. So mutually means person, mutually. We're working together. So that's a good word to use. I would flip it around and say, we should mutually respect each other. Mutually is an adverb, so put it in front of the word respect. We should mutually respect each other, okay? So all of these examples, I'm using the word respect as a verb, okay? So we should respect each other, okay? You could also use respect as a noun. Think of it as an idea. We should have respect. So you should show respect for each other. Have respect for one another. All of these are okay. But you should not say we should be respect for each other. Respect is a thing. We cannot be respect, okay? So we respect people as a verb, or we have respect, meaning it's an idea, thing, okay? So if it's a verb, we respect someone. If it's a noun, we have respect for someone. But you can't do somewhere in the middle. You cannot respect for someone. No, you have respect for. You cannot be respect. No, because that would be you are that thing. So we respect someone or have respect for someone, okay? And then I also saw someone use polite. So we are supposed to be polite to each other. Yes, that's true, but polite and respect are quite different. Polite is saying thank you and please, but respect is treating someone like an equal, okay? So know the difference. Yes, we should all be polite to each other, but being respectful is also very important and a little bit different, okay? Now next, 同事说他要请假，我应该要接手他的工作吗？ I would translate this as, my coworker said he would take the day off. Am I supposed to take over his work? So my coworker said he would take the day off. Am I supposed to take over his work? Now this is a little bit tricky. This is something we haven't really learned together yet. We'll learn this in the future. This is called reported speech. So I say, my coworker said he would take the day off. So past tense. My coworker said, and because it's past tense, he would take the day off. So we're talking about the future, but he said it before. So instead of will, I say would. My coworker said he would take the day off. This is the correct grammar, but many people would also change it around. So it's all right to also say, my coworker said he will take the day off. That's okay too. Or my coworker said he is going to take the day off. Now, the grammar is not perfect from the book, but people say it, so it's okay too. Okay? Let's see what else. Oh, I skipped one again. I'm sorry about that. Let's cover the coworker one, and then we'll go back to the red light in a minute. Okay? So sorry about that. I have a big list, and I'm trying to get through everything piece by piece. So I said my coworker. Another option is to say my colleague. In England, colleague is very common. In America, we rarely use the word colleague. We would say coworker. Both answers are correct, but in American English, we would say my coworker more often. And the correct, perfect book English would be my coworker said he would take the day off. But many people will say it other ways. You could say he said he will. He says he will. He says he is going to. So many different ways to say it that are okay, but maybe not perfect on a test. So don't worry too much about what's perfect, as long as you're close enough. And people will use it based on when he said it or when he's talking about, okay? And you could also add the word that. My coworker said that he would take the day off. The word that is optional. You can have it or not, okay? Now let's see what else. He would take the day off. You could also say he said he is taking the day off, okay? One thing to notice is if you use the word will, it has to be take. Some people wrote will taking. That's not okay. You need to say will take, okay? Also, you could say will be taking a day off. Will be taking a day off is okay though. So will take or will be taking, okay? So I said the day off. You could also say take the day off or time off or take vacation. I also saw someone say take a leave. Take a leave sounds like a longer time. So take a leave maybe that they're going to leave for a week or a month, okay? But if we want to say take a day off or take a short vacation. I also saw annual leave. we wouldn't use annual here. Annual means every year. Maybe it's on a schedule. Every year we have leave at this time. But we're talking about just one day, maybe a vacation day. I have a question saying, does the day mean today? How about the following days in the future? So my coworker said he would take the day off. Yes, that usually means today. If you're saying this out of nowhere, it sounds like it means today. Oh, I just found out. My coworker said he would take the day off, meaning today. You could also use the day to mean another day, but you would want to specify. You could say, my coworker said he would take the day off tomorrow, or my coworker said he would take the day off on Monday, right? But if you just say the day, it sounds like you mean today, okay? Now, I said, am I supposed to take over his work? So he has work, and am I supposed to take over it? Like do it for him? So another way to say this is, instead of take over his work, you could say cover for him. Cover for means only for a short time. Am I supposed to cover for him? You could also say, am I supposed to do his work? Okay. And I also saw some people say, am I supposed to accept his work? That means he's giving it to you. He already asked you. But if he didn't ask you, you wouldn't use the word accept. Accept sounds like he asked you a question and said, hey, can you cover for me? And you accept that. Okay? I also saw someone say, am I supposed to handle his work? That's similar, but to make it clear that you're doing work for him when he's gone, take over and cover are more clear. Okay? Let's see. Now let's rewind back to the red light one. 看到红灯应该要停车. So I translate this as, when you see a red light, you're supposed to stop. Here I use the word see in the present simple tense because it's a truth. It's all the time, every time. When you see a red light, you're supposed to stop. I say when because at that time, when you see a red light. So you're driving and then the time comes, you see it. When you see it, you're supposed to stop. You could also say if you see a red light. That's okay too. The meaning is slightly different. When is talking about time, if is in general. If you see a red light, you're supposed to stop. Okay? You could also say you should stop. Should sounds more like a suggestion here. So you should stop. That's okay, but you're supposed to means everybody knows you need to do it. It's the right thing to do. You could also say you have to stop. That means you need to stop. That's okay. But the meaning is slightly different. You're supposed to or you should is it's the right thing to do, right? Okay. I just said you're supposed to stop. We know you're driving, so when you see a red light, you're supposed to stop. You don't need the word car, but you could say you need to stop your car. You're supposed to stop your car. Or you could say you're supposed to stop driving. Okay? I saw someone say stop drive. That's not okay. You cannot say you're supposed to stop drive. It needs to be driving with an ing. I also saw you're supposed to stop moving. You don't want to stop moving. Stop moving means you freeze your whole body. And then your car would continue going. So don't stop moving. You have to stop driving, okay? Stop the car, okay? Stop moving is talking about your body not moving. You stop moving. I said you're supposed to or you should. Because in general, if we were talking about in general, you can use the word you. So talking about you, meaning all people out there. Hey, you out there. You could also say people should, okay? People should do this. I also saw people use the word we. We have to or we should. We should stop. That's okay, but when we're talking about telling the world, usually we'd say you or people. and because I'm teaching you something or I'm giving you information. But one thing is you cannot use it. A few people use it should always stop, or it's supposed to stop driving. Now, we're talking about people. You never call people it. So don't say it should always stop driving. You should say people should always stop driving, or you should always stop driving, because you're telling people, okay? You're saying this to the world. So you guys out there, or all you people, okay? So you should say when you see a red light, but you cannot say when see a red light. We need the word you when we're speaking in English, okay? So Chinese doesn't have you in this part, but in English we have to say when you see or if you see. And like I said before, see is present simple because it's a truth. It happens again and again. We don't use saw because that's one time in the past. You don't say seeing. That means it's continuing to happen. We say see, meaning like one time it happens and it happens again and again. So focus on present simple. Someone said when you look at a red light. Look at is a different meaning. Look at means you look at it quickly. See is more general. Your eyes are moving around and you see it. Like 看到的意思. But look means you're, I look at that red light. Maybe I should stop. That means you already know it's there. But see means kind of like you realize it's there. Okay? Now, next up, let's move to our final section. 乔伊三餐都自己一个人吃. So I translate this as, Joey eats all 3 meals a day by himself. Joey eats all 3 meals a day by himself. Okay? So this name, I would say, is Joey. Joey. And remember, Joey is a boy's name. It sounds like, if you add a Y, it sounds like they're kind of young. So a young boy might be called Joey. Now, if the boy gets older and wants to be a little bit more serious, you take away the Y, and the name changes to Joe. Okay? But a lot of people wrote Joy. Joy. So Joy is a woman's name. So Joy. So Joey, a boy's name, is Joey. But Joy, a woman's name, is Joy. One sound. Joey, Joy. Okay? So it's a slight difference. You got to be careful. So Joey eats all 3 meals a day by himself. Again, many ways to say this. You could say Joey eats breakfast, lunch, and dinner by himself. Joey eats every meal by himself. Joey always eats meals by himself. Okay? But you don't want to say every meals. I saw that a couple times. You would say every meal with no S, because every means you're going one meal, one meal, one meal. Every meal. Don't add the letter S. Okay? And then I said by himself. Just one person, he's eating by himself. You could also say Joey eats on his own. We learned that together, right? And Joey eats all 3 meals a day alone. Now, if you use the word alone, this is also the same meaning, but it sounds a little bit more sad. So the word alone sounds like he's a little bit lonely, okay? It doesn't always mean that, but it sounds a little bit more sad. Joey eats every meal alone. Ooh, poor Joey. It sounds kind of lonely. But the other ones, maybe he's happy. He eats by himself and he's fine. But alone sounds a little bit more negative and sad. Okay? Now next up is 我昨天穿球鞋去戏演. I'm saying that wrong. 我昨天穿球鞋去戏演. 感觉有点格格不入. So, hopefully this hasn't happened to you. Maybe your nice shoes are broken, so you have to wear some 球鞋. Now, at the beginning, we talked about dialects, and I mentioned this word. So, It depends where you go in America. People might say something different. But in general, most people would say sneakers. I think most people. We should check that video one more time. I would say sneakers. So I say, I wore sneakers to the wedding yesterday. I felt a little bit out of place. Yesterday, so past tense, I use the verb wore. I wore sneakers to the wedding yesterday. I felt a little bit out of place. But like we said before, different dialects in America, people might say, I wore tennis shoes. I wore gym shoes. Or I wore athletic shoes. All of these are okay. Athletic shoes sounds a little bit too formal though. Most people would say either sneakers, gym shoes, tennis shoes. Was there another one? I think those are the three best. Okay? I also saw someone say, I went to a wedding with sneakers on. That's okay. Flipping the focus. It's focusing on I went to the wedding instead of focusing on I wore sneakers. Give me a second. Someone also said, I went wearing sneakers. That's okay too. Okay? So I wore sneakers to the wedding. I went to the wedding wearing sneakers. Okay. Now I say to the wedding because we're talking about the whole wedding in general. Usually when we talk about going to a wedding, just use the word wedding. You don't need to be more specific. Keep it simple. Okay? Other people said, I went to the banquet. A banquet is a big giant feast, lots and lots of food. Okay? But banquet, this word, does not mean wedding. You could have a banquet, a big giant party with tons of food. That's not a wedding. So it depends on your meaning. You could say, I went to the wedding banquet. But that sounds like it's part of the wedding. Most of the time we talk about the whole wedding. So we just say wedding. Wedding banquet just means one part of the wedding. Okay? Someone also said, I went to a wedding feast. This one, it makes sense, but it's not a common phrase. We wouldn't say a wedding feast. We might say a wedding banquet. Banquet is a word, it basically means feast, but it sounds more fancy. Okay? I also saw some people say, I went to the wedding party. I went to the wedding party. This meaning is actually different. A party means many people getting together and having fun, right? And a wedding means many people getting together to have a wedding. But the wedding party is actually a group of people at the wedding. So a wedding party doesn't mean the whole wedding. It means a group of people at the wedding. The wedding party means the bride, the groom, the best man, the maid of honor, and any person who is involved in the actual wedding, the wedding party, the group of people who are in the wedding. If you're there watching the wedding, you are not part of the wedding party, okay? You're attending the wedding. You're seeing the wedding, okay? So don't use wedding party in this sentence we had today because you're not in the wedding party unless you're maybe the bride. Don't wear sneakers if you're the bride. So I wore sneakers to the wedding yesterday. I felt a little bit out of place, okay? You could say a bit out of place, kind of out of place. All of these are the same meaning, okay? Now I use out of place because you feel kind of weird. You're in a place at a wedding and you feel like you don't belong there, right? So I think out of place is the best phrase for this particular situation, okay? And then you could also use out of my element. So out of my element, here it's a little bit different. Out of my element usually means what you're good at. So if you're good at painting, but someone asks you to build something, you'll be out of your element. You're good at something, but not this. So being in my element means I'm in a place where I can do something well. So you could use it in this situation, but it is often used a little bit different. Out of place is focusing on the place you are, and you feel like you don't belong in that place. My element means what I am good at or the situation I'm good at. And so you feel like you're not in your full self, right? You're not doing the best you can, okay? Now, I said I felt a little bit out of place. Felt should be past tense because it happened before it's over. Some people say, I feel out of place. Feel would mean right now, but you're not there now. That was yesterday. So don't use feel, use felt. You could say, I was feeling out of place. That's okay, but it's focusing on that the feeling continued. But the feeling's finished now, so it's better to use felt, okay? I also saw a few people say, I am felt. I'm felt. Felt is a verb. Am is a verb. We can't put them together. I am felt doesn't work because I am should be a thing or an adjective, but felt is another verb. So just say, I felt uncomfortable or something, okay? I felt out of my place, or I felt out of place, okay? Now, last but not least, 我想要多认识一些同龄的朋友. I translate this as, I would like to meet some more people my own age. I would like to meet some more people my own age. So, we're talking about the future, but it's maybe going to happen. We're not sure if it's going to happen, so we don't say will. I will meet people my own age. That would mean you know you are. So, if it's an if, like it's an idea, you use would, okay? It's in your mind. I would like to meet some more people my own age, okay? You could also say, I want to meet some more people my own age. So I would like or I want to are almost the same meaning. Very similar. They're both okay. So I want to meet means meeting new people. So having the word meet includes the word new. So you don't need to say like, I want to meet some new people. You could say just meet people because meet means it's the first time, okay? I saw people say, I want to know more people. We want to use meet because meet is you go out there and meet them for the first time. I want to know more people is okay, but it's not focusing on the meeting for the first time, okay? You could say, I would like to get to know some more people. That's okay. To get to know and meet is also similar meaning. You could also say, I would like to make friends or make some new friends. So make friends or meet friends, similar meaning, okay? I saw a few people use the word peers. I would like to meet some new peers. Now, we don't use peers in this way because people are your peers. Peers means they're the same age as you, or maybe they work with you. They're people in the same situation. They are my peers. And they already are. You don't make peers because people are already peers. You could meet some of your peers. That would be okay because they're other people in your situation. But you can't make peers because they already are your peers, okay? But you can make friends. Right now, you are not friends, and you make them your friends. So you make friends, okay? You could also say, I would like to know more people, like I said before. Meet new people, know more people. But meet is focusing on seeing them for the first time and saying, hello, my name is blah, 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 okay? And then I said, I would like to meet some more people my own age. I saw people say of my own age, in my own age, or at my age. These are all kind of okay, but they're making it more complicated. It sounds more formal. I would like to meet some more people of my own age, or at my own age, or in my own age. Of my own age or at my age would be okay, but it makes it more complicated. Keep it simple and just say my own age. You don't need the preposition here, actually. I would like to meet some more people my own age. So of my own age and at my own age are okay. In my own age sounds a little bit a little bit off, because in means like it's in the same year. It's too specific. At my own age is close to the year you are. Okay? Now, I think that's the last one. Hopefully, I hit everyone's questions. I'll check the comments. Does anyone have any final comments about what we've covered so far? So we talked about dialects around America. Different people in different areas say different words, and we covered step by step the different questions and answers. And then grammar is tricky, right? It's hard to follow the rules because in Chinese, there's not as much grammar, right? You have a verb and you don't need to change that verb for time. English is special, or the grammar is special in English because you can use the time to point to a certain time, like in your life. So you don't always need time words. You can just say the verb in a different way, and it makes it clear when you're talking about. In English, we don't always have to say yesterday. You could say, I felt bad. And you know it was before. If I say, I'm feeling bad, I don't need to say right now. So remember, whenever you're learning grammar or changing your verbs around and you're going, oh, why am I doing this? It's because it's a cool way to show, you can show the time relationship between different things. This came first, that came next, that came after, without ever saying the time. And so in the next couple lessons, we're going to learn other grammar forms, some of that are more complicated. And so we'll practice our grammar together and figure out, how do I say this was before that, this was before that, or that was after that? All these different ways to say these without exactly saying the time. So really useful. Hopefully you find it useful. I know it's tricky and confusing, but if you practice, you'll get better and you'll do okay. And so just speak more and it'll feel more natural, okay? So let's wrap up here today. If anyone would like to chat with me one-on-one, I would like you to text me a message to my account, Kyle Moai. I'll write a comment right here with the name, Kyle Moai, just so you can find it. Send a message to Kyle Moai. And then if you send a message to me over there, we can talk via voice for a few minutes, and you can ask me any specific questions you have, or just get some practice, okay? So here's a link to Kyle Moai. I'll be there for the next like 5 or 10 minutes, so if you would like to chat with me, go over to Kyle Moai, and if you're not friends with me, add me and then send me a message and say, hey Kyle, and then I'll text you back, okay? So thank you everybody. Hope I answered all your questions. If I didn't, leave a comment and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Okay, have a good night. Thank you and bye-bye. I'll teach you more dialects next time, okay? See you later. Bye-bye.